It started off with a series of mysterious disappearances, asylum seekers suddenly vanishing after arriving on Greek shores in the Aegean Sea. Along a busy route for refugees fleeing from Syria, the flow of people shut up at the start of the year after Turkey said it would no longer prevent them from crossing into Europe. Since then, boats have sailed to Greek islands, but once arriving, many asylum seekers met a different fate. And joining me now from Izmir is Basak Yavcan, a senior researcher at the Hugo Observatory. She is also an associate professor of political science at TOBB University in Ankara, and Hanne Beirens, who is the director of Migration Policy Institute Europe, a think tank based in Brussels. So ladies, welcome to Straight Talk. It's good to have you on the program. Basak, a new report released by the European Asylum Support Office revealed that the refugee arrivals from Turkey to Europe decreased almost like 95% since the signing of the refugee deal back in 2016. What has changed? What is the situation in your opinion?
Well, the number of arrivals into EU territories from Turkey has decreased dramatically since signing of the EU-Turkey deal in 2016. However, the pragmatic cooperation should not be taken for granted, and we've seen that after the escalation of the conflict in Idlib throughout January and February, especially in late February, Turkey was threatened with a mass influx of Syrians. And Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan has announced that Turkey would stop controlling outflows from its western borders, and that sparkled a crisis with the EU. As a result, an estimated 12,000 to 25,000 refugees from 29 different countries actually have arrived into the border with Greece. And Greece responded by closing its borders with strong operational and political support from the EU and temporarily suspended asylum applications. In addition to suspending asylum applications for a year, the office responsible for processing the asylum applications has said between March 13th and May 15th to protect against the spread of COVID-19 that they would suspend. So throughout this period, the numbers were down again, but because of the accumulation throughout this period and lack of processing asylum, which, by the way, is an international obligation of Greece.
All right. Hanne, there are also several reports that some boats carrying asylum seekers have started vanishing after arriving on Greek islands, while others are being illegally pushed back to Turkey. Can we confirm this?
Yes, there have been multiple reports from media and NGOs. So there's been also, for example, a group of investigators, including the German newspaper Der Spiegel, that have actually started to forensically analyze these videos to test the veracity of these videos. And indeed, there were reports saying that on the one hand, there's a delaying of rescue, so ignoring calls for help. There are reports of shots being fired at migrants trying to attempt to reach the border, and there's also been reports of boats being dragged back into Turkish waters as a result of that. And so as a result of this, both UNHCR and already the 12th of June has urged the Greek authorities to investigate these multiple reports. And then next to that, on the 6th of July, members of the European Parliament have also asked the Greek government to clarify its position on these reports of pushbacks at the sea and land borders. They have dismissed it as fake news,
yes.
But as a result, the European Parliament has asked the Commission to actually investigate this and to impose sanctions if these breaches are confirmed.
Yeah, those tragic pictures actually brings to mind the question of the future of the Turkey-EU deal. We know that it's been 4 years since Brussels signed this deal with Turkey, Ankara, but many argue that the EU hasn't lived up to its promises. Let's just take a look back what was agreed to. As part of the deal, the European Union agreed to pay Turkey 6 billion euros in financial aid. 4 years on, Ankara insists it is yet to receive that amount in full, a claim the European Commission denies. Meanwhile, Greece has so far failed to process asylum applications for Syrian refugees as part of the deal. This backlog has resulted in more than 20,000 refugees being stranded in ill-equipped camps off Greek islands. To complicate the matter, some EU member states have also refused to accept the number of refugees assigned to them under the Turkey-EU deal. This year, the EU finally heeded Turkey's call for more financial assistance, but Ankara says supporting its population of 4 million refugees has cost 6 times the initial 6 billion agreed into the deal. So, Basak, will this EU's revised aid package suffice this time around? What do you make of, because it is going to expire within a year? What is your take on that?
Well, the conditions of refugees have been worstly affected, of course, by this pandemic because they lay at the bottom of the socioeconomic ladder, and already the existing research surveys conducted across Turkey indicate 70% of the refugees have lost their jobs, even if they were informal, and many are facing difficulties in accessing basic services, food necessities, meeting their food necessities, access into healthcare services even sometimes. And therefore, it is really important to revamp this deal and continue collaboration in this area.
Yes, the European Commission, on the other hand, says it may now propose a new system to monitor the illegal pushback of migrants. So, Hanne, do you believe there is an appetite within the European Union to reform or fix its asylum system?
Yes, indeed. Eva Johansson has said that she wants to put forward a mechanism to better monitor and verify pushbacks at the EU borders, not only in Greece, but there are reports in other parts of the EU where this is happening. But for the moment, they don't have a mandate to do that. And if you also look at what happened back in March, when, of course, there was the conflict at the border. At the time, there were 2 main ingredients in the discourse of the EU, which was we will not negotiate with a knife at our throat, we will not be blackmailed, and we need to protect our external borders, because the EU is not keen to see an increase in a startup of large arrivals again. They are struggling to come to an agreement at the EU level, so internally, to agree on a new kind of pact on migration and asylum, which would reform the common European asylum system.
Can they do it without Turkey's cooperation?
Well, the internal front needs to be tackled by EU member states and the EU government, where, of course, the EU-Turkey deal played an important role in that is by, as our colleague just said, is by lowering the numbers of arrivals so that the member states could actually focus on that. So far, after 5 years of negotiations, that reform hasn't happened.
So, Basak, what are Turkey's options? And amid the coronavirus outbreak and the already strained relations between the two sides, how do you think the future of the refugee deal and the refugee crisis would look like?
I think both parties have benefited from this deal so far, and that's why it has been serving all this time, and that's why shortly after the crisis broke, both parties have reiterated their commitments to the deal. But of course, there are criticisms on both sides, and there are certain areas that need to be addressed. And with the pandemic, one can easily say the basic needs of the refugees are of utmost importance at the moment, and they should be the support for those should continue through ESSN support through FRIT in the new deal. But also a big area of challenge for Turkey is creating self-sustaining mechanisms, sustainable mechanisms for refugees. And that is only possible through integration in the formal labor market. And that should also be supported by the EU through a system which grants certain trade subsidies to Turkey, making with goods that are heavily produced by refugees more accessible to the EU market, like one signed with Jordan through Compact Jordan. And the grounds for this actually exist in the Global Compact for Refugees, which does urge countries to support these kind of mechanisms, to explore these kind of mechanisms.
Yeah. All right, ladies, unfortunately, we're out of time. Thank you very much for joining us on Straight Talk. Appreciate it a lot.